plans for your post-harvest regeneration. Of course, you're going to go in, you're going to have your maintenance, your thinning, and everything, clearing out your underbrush, but at some point you are going to get to the point to where you do your harvest of your timber. You need to have a plan of what you're going to do next. Are you going to convert it at that point and do something else, or are you going to replant it? That needs to be stated in there so we know how are you going to continue with that. If you do want to convert it, of course, we need to know that's going to need to be applied, a separate application, so we know that you're switching, and as well as what you're going back with and how long it's going to take you to achieve that.
A couple of things on planning for post-harvest. There's a couple ways to do it. Really, you can, at a certain point, you get to where you can't thin. You can only thin a stand of timber so much. So you have to think about regenerating that stand. It can be done naturally, where you leave trees scattered out, generally 10 to 16 trees per acre scattered out. That's natural regeneration.
Mature trees.
Mature trees, yes.
We have so many people that leave whips.
Right, not whips. Yeah. And thank you for, that's, we're talking about leaving mature pine trees, or if you're going to try and regenerate a hardwood stand, you're generally going to leave a little bit more than 10 to 16 hardwood trees per acre. That's a natural regeneration. That's one way. The other way would be to completely harvest the timber, prepare the site, and replant it. And I think that's where some people kind of got worried with some of my presentation is I was showing there's a number of tools and methods and ways to clear a stand and replant it, whether you're using herbicide or whether you're using mechanical means. If you get a plan from me, or if you get a plan from a consultant, if it's a professional plan, we're going to give you our best opinion on how to convert that stand of timber. Obviously, I think the best thing to keep in mind is if you're going to harvest timber, plan to use some of that money to put it back into production. You know, it's the folks that, and there's some people in this room that I've worked with through the years that have done just that. If it's the folks that call us up and it's been 4 or 5 years since they harvested it, and the money that they received has long been spent, and we're looking at a stand of timber or we're looking at a cutover that's not really being managed for timber. It's going to take quite a, basically it's a mess. It's going to take quite a good amount of money to clear and replant. So staying on top of that and working with your forester, whether it's us or whether it's a consulting forester, and maintaining your forest management plan, that's the key to hopefully spending less money to clear a site and replant it, and to continue to manage your timber for production in the future.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in talking to several foresters over the past few years with the drought cycles that we've had, a lot of people, when they go in for that final harvest, are taking that natural regeneration route of leaving mature seed-bearing trees out there. Because what that does is it eliminates you from having to spend the money on seedlings, whether they're pine or hardwood, and the expense of buying them and putting them out and then possibly losing them if weather conditions don't prevail. This way, the seed-bearing trees are dropping seed.
There's advantages to the natural regeneration where you don't completely harvest all of your timber. You leave trees spaced out and let them naturally reseed, right? There's definitely advantages to that because you're not going to spend as much money. There are also some downsides to it. You can have good seed years where it seeds in naturally and you have all these you have a lot of pine regeneration come back up. You can have bad years where you just don't seem to have a good seed crop. Sometimes it works too well and you'll have thousands of trees to the acre. That's fine if you're okay with managing that place for a very, very long time. But for the guy that wants to make as much money as he can on a property and intensively manage that property, I wouldn't choose natural regeneration. I would go the artificial route. It depends, it's what the landowner wants. And that's why I cannot stress enough, it's important that before you cut your timber, that you talk to a consultant forester and that you have some kind of idea of what you're going to do when it comes time to regenerate that stand. When I say regenerate, either naturally with pine seedlings or by planting.
Examples of non-managed timber. We've had a lot of property owners say, well, I've got a ton of trees out there. Basically, it's just this natural growing, no maintenance whatsoever, no fire breaks, a thicket, and just not really geared for producing timber products. We do understand that a lot of property owners have tracts that are full of trees, but it doesn't meet what the state says that it has to be primarily devoted to timber products, which is why the wildlife might be a better option for that property, because the thicket would promote a habitat. And so you never know. I mean, it sounds like the wildlife might be the way to go for that type of property, because it's not geared for producing timber products.
Just real quick, managing your timber it's not clear cutting it and then waiting 40, 50 years and just clear cutting it again. It's not diameter limit cutting where you just say, I'm going to cut everything that's 10 or 12 inches and above and just do that again, 20, 30 years from now. That's not forest management. These examples of non-managed timber, these are just some areas that are overstocked that need to be thinned.
Okay. To qualify for timber, the district requires a current written timber management plan with all applications for the timber appraisal. I believe as you came in, you did get that template. Of course, later on in the presentation, you will get some information for resources that can assist you. The plan must be or may be written by the Texas A&M Forestry Service, as Jason mentioned, a timber consultant, which is generally for a fee, or the landowner with adequate experience in timber management. We do realize there are property owners out there who have had their property in their family's name for 100 years or so, and they've always managed it as such. So because they have been immersed in that business for so long through the years with their family, obviously they're going to have a lot of knowledge of that stand and are privy to the history of it and know how to give us the information in that plan. Not every property owner is going to be able to give us that information. That's when we would recommend you might get assistance.
And one thing, first of all, no, we're not going to ascertain whether you're qualified with adequate experience, okay? All right, you either are or you aren't. That's going to be up to you, okay? So no, we're not going to try to ascertain, okay, you've got enough experience, you've got enough history, so we'll let you do your own plan. We're not doing that, okay? We ran into this last year, and we're continuing into this year. Situations where I need a plan. Call up Jason. I need a plan. My deadline is April 30th. Jason says, there's no way that I can get to you. Well, I got to have a plan to apply what I do, okay? What we are doing is he is sending a form, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. You get that form back to him, and then he sends us an email letting us know that John Smith is in line for me to do his timber management plan. John Smith then fills out his application, gets it into us with a letter mentioning, or note in there mentioning, hey, I'm in line at TFS for my plan. If everything else checks out, you're just short your plan, then we'll go ahead and allow that, okay, on contingency basis. And then when Jason gets your plan done, you just send it in to us. That way you're not sitting there sweating the fact that you can't get them to do a plan before the deadline. Oh my goodness, what do I do? Okay, we ran into this last year. That's what we decided to do. If Jason or TFS is going to do your plan, work with him through that. He'll let us know that you're in line to have one done. As long as everything else meets muster, you're just short your plan, we'll go ahead and grant timber, and you just send us the plan when he gets it done and gets it to you.
So yeah, this form that I'm going to send you, it's just it's an informational form where I get your name, address, your goals for your property. I also ask for like a survey plat that shows the boundaries of your tract. and then like a map to get to your property. It can take us 2 to 3 months to get a plan done, because we do these forest management plans, but we also manage the largest state forest in Texas, and we have a number of items. The main thing is if you call me up or you talk to any of my staff, they can send you the form, but send it back to us, because I won't add you to our list until I have the form back. Because I have plenty of people that I send this form to, I never hear anything back from them. Once I get that form back is when I contact the appraisal district and say, hey, I'm going to do John Smith's plan. We have him on our list on file.
And I would even extend that if you're going to go get a consulting forester to do your plan and not TFS, and your consulting forester can't get it done before the deadline, same thing applies. Just have them communicate that to us, that, you know, they could give you, I guess, they could either email us or they could just put a letter, give you a letter that you send in with your app.
Yeah, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll either email it or the property owner will bring it in. It's usually on some type of letterhead of whoever the fee appraiser or consultant, just letting us know that it's pending and they're working on it, and they'll get it to us as soon as they can, because obviously there's several districts that are requiring these, and these consultants cover several counties, so they are backlogged. And we realize that, and we're willing to work with that. So as long as you just let us know that it's in the process, we'll be able to put it in like a pending status and give you ample time to work on that. Agriculture properties typically have yearly evidence of production that can be seen in a field inspection. However, timber may not. We did touch on this earlier. The district will keep your plan on file and use it to review the activity of the tract over the years. We expect timber producers to follow their management plan as a sign of due diligence. However, we also realize that plans may change. Obviously, that you might come into some situations that might not have been addressed in your plan. And so we realize that because of that, we'll be focused on the spirit of the plan and in your operation. So if things do change and you need to modify your plan, please come in. Please do so. Let us know that you performed an operation that you hadn't outlined in your plan. And we can definitely, any evidence that you can show us is greatly appreciated. It just benefits you in letting us know that you are managing your stand.
You could also have a situation where, and we had some concern about this in Rusk and Wells, where if I give you a plan and it says I'm going to do a thinning cut in 2018, and I get to 2018 and it's too wet to get in there and cut, am I going to lose my timber because I didn't cut it when I said I would? This falls back under the common sense and the flexibility. Plans are good for 15 minutes, aren't they? You know, we're focused on the principally devoted. I mean, you are devoted to doing your timber or whatever, and you may need to modify things, or maybe you don't get a fire break, or maybe you wasn't able to get in to get your salvage timber out when you said you were in your plan, but you've put it off and you're going to reschedule it for another time. We're talking flexibility here, but we are talking honestly we're talking about being honest with what you're doing, okay? And we're willing to work within those latitudes.
I mean, if something significantly takes place on the property, we just appreciate you coming in and letting us know so we can document that history. It just benefits the property owner, letting us know that something did take place. It's just something for us to allow to put in our records.
It's pretty common. Folks will maybe get a consulting forester and sign a contract with him, and he's going to thin that timber for you. But maybe he's not able to get it done this year, and he has to get it done the next year. When we write our plans, we tend to kind of put a range, maybe like thin your timber in the next 2 to 3 years, something like that. But what I've always told landowners for years is I would document everything and at least be able to say to the appraisal district, I'm working with a consultant forester, on his list of properties to do a thinning on, for instance. So documenting everything and just keeping notes will certainly help you. And then one other thing I failed to mention before, if you need a list of consulting foresters, you can call me or you can look up our website. Probably just Googling Texas A&M Forest Service is the best way to do it. but we maintain a consulting forester list on our website.
But this is a good opportunity, and another reason why we're doing the plan. If you say you're going to do a thinning or a harvest in 2018, and you don't do it, and you say, well, I can't get to it, whatever. Okay, 2019 rolls by, you still haven't done it. 2020 rolls by. At some point, 2020, 2021, those excuses are going to run out, and we're going to assume that you're seriously not in the timber production business, and then we'll have to take steps at that time.